sophomore year, I realized that Stanford would pay for everything if I got accepted, just due to social class and how much income was available.
I first thought about applying to a quote-unquote selective university, partially to test myself and to see if I could get in.
I didn't apply to Duke because it was a selective school. It just had the best programs and what I wanted to do, and I wanted that benefit when I left college.
Even when I was applying to Stanford, I saw it as like just this huge long shot. I almost didn't apply, but one of my friends said, "Why not? You never know." So I'm very glad she said that. But I really, just applied almost on a whim.
What were the perceptions I had? I didn't really have any. After I got accepted though, there were a lot of like, it's gonna be a lot of different social dynamics, it's gonna be a lot of culture shock, it's gonna be a lot of money that maybe you're not used to.
What always made me really worried about applying to a school like Duke was were my SAT scores or ACT scores high enough. I'm not a very good test taker. I would have really liked to have known that scores are just one component.
I really didn't have that many perceptions about like elite or selective schools because I didn't think they were places that I could get into, and so maybe I guess that was my perception, was just that they weren't for me. These schools that have acceptance rates like 4 to 5 to 6%, nobody's guaranteed a spot here, and so you might as well go for it.
I knew they were hard to get into, but I always just kind of had the mindset that if you work hard and you feel like that's what you want to do and you put everything into it, then you can do whatever you want.
I think a lot of students don't apply just because they think it won't be affordable or because they think they won't get in, and I wish I'd known that it absolutely is affordable and you absolutely can get in. Ferris is a great school, Spokane Public Schools is a great district, and so it definitely can happen for you.
I wish I had known to consider other things besides what programs do they offer. I got really lucky with that. I liked how things turned out at Duke. I really liked the campus and the social aspect of it and all, but I really just keep getting surprises. I'm like, oh, I didn't know we had that, or I didn't know we don't do that here, and so that was one thing I wish I had considered.
One thing that at least the academies do specifically is they have a summer camp that you can do the summer of your sophomore year, and so I went to that and I got so much information just about the application process from that. I wish I would have known before that how extensive the application process actually is for the academies, at least, because it's like 3 or 4 applications in one.
In the end, when you're applying to these colleges, there are so many other students who are like you, who are hardworking and dedicated and have good grades and whatever, and what sets you apart is really who you are and what you write on that application about what you're passionate about and what you've been dedicating your time to while in high school.
I think back in October, I put in my planner when all the deadlines were for schools, when all the deadlines were for financial aid and for scholarships, and then also big test dates that I had, or debate tournaments, or band competitions, all the stuff that I do. So that way I could look at a calendar at a month away and say okay, well I'm gonna have 2 things this week, so I really need to make sure I budget my time effectively. And that's a skill that really translates well in college because there's gonna be a million more things to do.
During lunch, I would work on my college applications, and before school, I'd work on my college applications. So what that left for me was not a lot of time to kind of socialize for about 2 months.
To-do lists are my thing, so I'd make to-do lists all the time. And then I'd just get home, look at my to-do list, and then just work down and make sure I got everything done before I went to bed. But I think organization is just key with that kind of stuff for me.
I did college stuff early. I didn't want to leave it to the last minute when I was getting caught up with stuff for semesters and quarter grades and things like that, so I did as much as I could early.
Take time to not talk about college. That's the question that everyone's going to be asking you, especially in your senior year, is where are you going to go to school? Where are you applying? Make sure that you have time to not think about it, and so it doesn't become all-consuming.
It's actually impossible to procrastinate applying to colleges because if you get to winter break of your senior year and you're just starting to look at college applications, more likely than not, they might need a letter of recommendation. And if you're on winter vacation and you're not near your teachers or whoever, it can be very challenging to get that application in by the January 1st deadline.
I wanted a really good, academically rigorous school that would challenge me, but I also wanted to still be close to the communities and the family that I was really close to in Spokane. And I think that's okay. It is okay to want to go far from home, but it's also okay to have home be a factor in your decision.
I got really homesick first semester, and I mean, I came home for spring break. But I also think it's something that's getting easier every day. I definitely, while it's nice to be home, I probably could have done with not coming home. And it's also, I think, something everyone experiences regardless of how far away they are.
You will get homesick freshman year, but just push through that first semester and you'll make your friends, you'll find your new family even though you're far away from home. And it makes traveling home all the more special because you're just so excited to see your family.
I didn't have any issue with going away from home. In fact, I wanted to. I think that there's strong value in leaving home.
The way the academies work is you get thrown into things really fast and you don't really have time to think. So I feel like it would have probably been harder if I went to a civilian college. But just being thrown right into the stress, I feel like I was able to manage it pretty well. For the academies, it's basically a full ride scholarship, and you pay that back with service afterwards. You have to do a minimum of 5 years. And so that definitely played into like part of why I wanted to do it. Like I wanted to serve anyway, so might as well get something like for it if I can.
Financial aid definitely was a huge part of my decision. I would just advise that don't let a big tuition number deter you from applying to a school, because you never know what kind of financial aid that school will provide you.
I don't know if I would say it was my #1 factor. It might have been the #1 factor for my parents. It was up there though. I definitely was considering it. And the nice thing about at least a lot of selective schools like Duke is that they have such big endowments that if you really need the financial aid, they'll give it to you.
And so if you apply to Georgetown, Harvard, Yale, and you get in, they will give you all the money you need, like even accounting for rent, food, travel, etc. And they will get you here because they want you here. So please apply to these schools, even if you think you can't afford it, because they will make it affordable. They will make it more affordable than your state school.
It was a huge factor in mine. That was the largest factor. How do I pay for college? You know, what am I going to do if I get accepted, but I can't pay, you know, or I can't go. So that was the whole reason I applied to Stanford. That was the whole reason I worked so hard during high school, because I saw the investment of 4 years of work is going to be worth $80,000 every year.